Welcome to the shop today. I'm here on my day off to help my boss out because that's what I do. And I walk in the shop today and a young lady brings in this. This is a Ibanez Tallman. That's how I pronounce it, Ibanez Tallman. And it's a very dirty guitar. I'm going to do a string change and adjust the string action for her. Not much I can do about intonation on this thing, but we're going to make it play a little easier for her. And I'm going to show you the string action here at the 12th fret. I haven't measured that yet. I haven't even opened my toolbox at this point in the day. But I'm guessing that's about a ½ inch. Nah, a joke. It's about a ¼ inch, and that's way too high for string height on a guitar like this. Hopefully we'll make it a lot easier for her to play, and we are going to clean up all this dirt, run some guitar polish over this guitar, make it look nice and pretty for her, and hopefully encourage her to get a rag to keep the guitar strings clean and the guitar body clean overall, and we'll also oil the fretboard for her. This is a relatively inexpensive guitar, but definitely I've played a lot of these, and they're very playable guitars. So I'll be back with a little bit of work done on this, and we'll get back to it. Oh, hit subscribe and the bell, and don't listen to fake news. So this is a lot of what we encounter working on these guitars. You bring it in for a string change and a cleanup and dusting and everything, and what happens is the pegs break off, so we have to replace that. And then here's a peg that's been busted off on that end. It's just brittle and old. And the other thing was that this guitar was tuned up. The E string was tuned up almost to an A, so the tension on that pin was so tight that it just squeezed it in there, and I could not pry it out with my my tool here. Ended up it broke. And the other thing that we often run into on these is the nuts come loose, a loose nut. So I get to fix this, and also in doing some investigations, every one of these machine heads is loose. This guitar would probably have a hard time holding tune. So all these little things that we find changing strings on a guitar for a young lady, and that's what we got to do. There's your Ibanez TCY 10 TBS 1205. Their model numbers are just remarkable. I mean, that's the model number. Remember that when somebody asks you what kind of guitar you have. I'm just oiling this fretboard, and was kind of stunned to discover how totally dry this fretboard was. I didn't think wood could get old enough to become this dry, but it did. But you can see we put a little bit of oil on there, and how nice that guitar, that wood comes to life, and got the nut all fixed up. Looks great. And again, I don't marinate this wood with linseed oil. Just throw some on there. My boss just walked in, and he thinks I'm weird because I'm talking to myself, which I do. But you can see how beautiful that wood just comes right back and hitting the saddle and the seat with the linseed oil. Get a little bit on there, keep that wood nice and nurtured and healthy, and protect it from moisture and other problems that happen from the wood drying out. And what sucks is when you get this oil on the finish on the guitar, it's really difficult to get off, so I'll have to re-polish this thing. But I've already polished the whole guitar. As you can see, it's nice and shiny, and I kind of hit it. Again, these guitars, you touch them, they get fingerprints on them. But this guitar's coming back to life, looking real pretty, and we'll get strings on it here shortly. Get the TALLY guitar, bringing it back to life. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful now? It was all dried out and ugly. Now it's nice and pretty. She's going to love having this guitar back. Well, I'm going to go ahead and polish these frets. I want to take a shot before and after polish them. Now all I'm going to do with these, I'm not hitting them with any sandpaper. I'm going to simply run over these with Never Dull. There's no fret wear. They're just completely tarnished. So here's a good look at what they look like before and after. These frets have been hit with just simply a product called Never Dull. I'm not endorsed by them, nor do I get paid a dime for touting their product, but you can look back at what they look like before and after. I just ran over them with some Never Dull. These frets are perfectly leveled. Ibanez does a great job when they work on frets at the factory. Even these guitars made in China, they seem to have great quality control, or they're just using really great fret wire, even on these inexpensive guitars. Now, I can tell you that had I hit this with some 2000 grit or 1500 grit sandpaper, they would look very mirror-like, like many of my other polish jobs do. But there you go. That's what your frets should look like, at least when you change strings. It's about time to straighten out this neck and put some strings on it. We're going to use some Session acoustic strings, 11 to 52. I wanted to go light. She's a new player, and I wanted to make it a little easier on her fingers for building up calluses. Now, here's the thing about finger calluses. Research, studies show that if you're just getting started and you play every single day for about a half hour to an hour, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for you to establish your calluses. So prepare for a little bit of pain. Another useful bit of advice is ibuprofen. Works great. If your fingers start burning a little bit, take one ibuprofen and you'll be amazed at how much that'll comfort that burning sensation that you feel. It's just because your fingers are swelling up and they get sore. Play through the pain and you'll have calluses in no time. Well, a month, 6 weeks,